As the news from the front became ever more grim, the Chief of Staff, Dado, split his last strategic reserves into two. 217 Tank Brigade was sent to the south, while 146 Division, with Tank Brigade 205, was ordered northward at 5:30 a.m., 15 hours since the war started. Poor logistic preparation forced most of the tanks to reach the front on their own, fueling at fuel station along their way. On Sunday evening, regrouping of forces carried out under the Golan Heights. The brigade's allocation was fluid, according to the need in the front and the enemy concentration expected. 146th Division was allocated with 205, 4, and 9 tank brigades. Division 210 remained with just one battalion for 179 Brigade and 36th Division with 7th Tank Brigade in the north and 679 Brigade just outside of Nafar. The main effort was 146th Division at the south. The Syrian forces' concentration at Khushnia, so close to Nafar base and road junction, were perceived as a strategic threat. If the Syrian tanks would get a hold of the base and the road junction next to it, the Golan would be lost. In the center and north, Division 36 and 7th Brigade and the battered 679 around Nafar was ordered to contain the Syrian charges until 146 would manage to clear the Khushnia pocket. To avoid being blinded by the sun, the IDF attack was postponed to 8:30. The 9th Tank Brigade went up the south road and encountered tanks and anti-tank missiles from the ridgeline above them. Unbeknown to the Israelis, in the last 24 hours, the Syrians made the entire area an anti-tank fortress. Digging trenches for tanks and infantry, and with the sun on their back, the Syrian 47th Tank Brigade and 132 Mechanized Brigade caused 9th Brigade heavy damage. At 9:30, according to the plan, the fresh 205 Brigade went for 9th Brigade and pushed the Syrian to the oil road. At the same time, 4th Tank Brigade attacked at the northern route. By noontime, most of the Syrian 47th Tank Brigade was destroyed. Tel Saki, with a few dozen Israelis besieged from the beginning of the war, was once again in Israeli hands. After replenishing ammunition and reorganizing, the 9th Brigade went northward to secure the north side of the Syrian pocket. While 146th Division applied pressure on the south, Syrian Armored Division 1 tried for the second time to take over Nafar. Syria's 91 Brigade, with what left of 51 Tank Brigade, attacked from the higher ridges, taking advantage of the sun blinding the Israelis. In front of them stood 57 tanks from 679 Brigade. Harel Battalion was stationed northeast, Danon Battalion under the Chiffon Hill, and west was Rimon Battalion. Facing extreme attrition rate and high level of casualties, military framework created ad hoc with whoever was available at the time. From now on, the outfit were named by the commander name in all the documentation of the war. At 7:30, a long file of T-62s appeared in the distance, raising clouds of dust. When they reached within 2-kilometer range, the Israelis opened fire. Dozens of Syrian tanks got hit, but the Syrian columns kept coming. Just before noon, it seemed that Tawfik Jini, Division 1 commander, identified a weakness on the Israeli defense. Division 1 leaned westward and Rimon Battalion suffered heavy losses. By noon, Rimon himself was killed, the 2nd Battalion commander in 2 days. Even though he knew the Syrians were listening on the radio, Danon saw no option but to inform Or he can't hold on much longer. Or decided to risk it. After all, the Syrians could not be everywhere, and ordered Harel to help in the west, leaving the east side completely exposed. After the Rimon Battalion disintegrated, Danon announced he is outflanked from his right side. Or called the 36th Division and asked if there's anything available for help. A tank company from 7th Brigade was sent. Together with our Air Force, they surprised the Syrians, who by now were certain the tanks in front of them were on their last legs. Late in the afternoon, it was time for 679 to push forward with what was left. By evening, the Syrians retreated and 679 held the higher ground on the ridge. Without ammunition and just a small number of tanks operable, the Israelis retreated from the ridge as well. On Monday evening, after an endless stream of Syrian charges against the 7th Brigade in the north, all the Syrian High Command had to show for is hundreds of Syrian tanks and BMPs on fire. And now in the center, once again on the verge of taking Nafak Junction, Division 1 retreated. And where was the Israeli Air Force all this time? What impact, if any, did it have? In studies conducted after the war, not even one Syrian tank in the Golan showed damage from an aircraft. The most expensive branch of Israeli armed forces had little, if any, impact on the battle. 52 hours since war began, the Syrians were on the back foot. The pocket they fortified in Hosnia was getting smaller by the hour in the south, and they had nothing to show for in the north. Has the tide now turned? Will Assad ground forces hold on until Iraq and Jordan expeditionary forces come to the rescue? Morale was slightly better on the Israeli side. They have managed to remove the sword off their necks and push back the Syrians. The cost, however, was high. 679 Brigade was left with just over 30 working tanks. While maintenance crews stormed the damaged tanks at nightfall, tank crews became scarce. In 36 hours of fire, many officers and crew members died or were severely wounded. Beside the tank crew shortage, almost a third of the tanks which came to the rescue on Monday morning were upgraded Shermans. With the thin armors and high profile, the Sherman tanks were long been considered inadequate. Israel High Command assumed this aging warhorse might offer limited help if push came to shove.